top 20. At number 20, Fly With Us by AC Slater and Chris Lorenzo. Chris Lorenzo and AC Slater came through with an absolute nasty bass house track. And that's the thing, a lot of night bass fans were, kind of interested in the new, like, heavy emphasis on, UK house and UK garage music. But a lot of people were just kind of clamoring for another hard bass house single. And, two OGs of the game came together and put together just an awesome track with with a great drop. And, I think it does get a little generic at times with, the raise your hands up, like all that kind of stuff. I just, it doesn't really have the effect that it did maybe, 5 or 6 years ago, but that because every track uses those kind of things, it's just like, I mean, I know they're effective in live performances and stuff, but where this track shines is the sound design and the drop. Number 19, Never Let It Go by Bart B. Moore. And talk about an awesome sound design on this track. I mean, it's very inventive tech house track with some crazy vocal sampling and vocal effects. Man, just a really inventive, fun, interesting track. Really excited to see what this guy continues to do. Number 18, Freedom, You Bring Me by Snake Hips and Armin van Helden. I mean, just an awesome vocal sample, hard-hitting bass house joint, man. This thing is really great work from two really, prestigious, I guess you would say, names in the house music, electronic scene. I mean, Snake Hips has been making a lot of interesting music with, rappers like Chance the Rapper and Tinashe, and a lot of like hip hop and R&B, inspired electronic music. And then obviously Arvin Van Helden is a legend in house music. So these two coming together for this joint, it really rocks. Number 17 is an absolutely dark, nasty bass house banger from an artist that I'm really interested in and really liking a lot of her work, including another track, Quit Acting Up, which was on Dr. Fresh's House Call Records. But this track is my favorite by her of the year, and that is Baila by Wednesday. This track, nasty. I heard this for the first time, and I was like, this thing is, ugh. I mean, just the bass on this thing is out the wazoo, but just the use of silence on this, it's just the way the bass and the vocals and everything comes in and out. Yeah, really dope. Just dark, grimy sound to it. Big fan. Number 16 has some really good singing and vocals on here and that is Motorola by Apidon. I think is how you say it. Yeah, she's been doing some great stuff out of the UK, making kind of, a lot of that UK garage music, which has kind of caught fire in the house scene lately. And yeah, I really like this track a lot. I mean, it's not anything, it's very minimal, and it's not, anything to like run home about, but it's a great base for what could come for Apidon. And I think this is her singing on this. And if it is, that's something she should continue to do, because I really like her vocals on here. The falsetto work is really pretty, and the way she's able to layer that with her, super spacey sounding production, really good, interesting track. Number 15 is, this track. I'd be a fool not to put this on my list. It's Do It To It by A Craze. One of the biggest flat out house track. It is probably the biggest house track of the year in terms of play, in terms of, replayability and sets, radio hit. I mean, this track had it all, and it took, what song was that from the 2000s? That bounce with it, drop with it, lean with it, rock with it, step with it. All right, can't say anymore, else I'll get DMCA'd, but you know what I mean. That track, I can't remember the name of it, but classic. I can look it up. Might as well. But Cherish. That's it. Cherish. That's who they were. Yep. Cherish. That's who it was. And yeah, so they basically, he took that track and just made it into a house banger. And I mean, yeah, it's not as high on my list just because, I think it's kind of, it can be seen as pretty lazy just taking a track and flipping it like that. But hey, this really worked out for him, and it became a hit on, TikTok and Instagram Reels and all that. And yeah, this is it's a really fun track. What can I say? Shout out to Craze, and he's making some good stuff. So, it's definitely a track I had to include. As for really inventive tracks, we're going to number 14 on my list, which is Something's About to Go Down by Ante Up, which is Chris Lake and Chris Lorenzo's partnership duo, I guess you would call it. And yeah, I'm really excited for this Ante Up album that's coming out. These guys are making some really crazy, wacky, out there house music. Two legends of the game just coming together. Two guys that are really hot right now coming together and finally putting the project together because, they had dropped some tracks, Pizza, which was really popular, Hey Pablo, which is a really fun track, and other ones. But, people were all just like, okay, well, we want to see an album from these guys. And I think they finally announced that it's coming. And this track, though, in particular, is crazy. I love the drop on this thing. The crazy sound design, especially like on the cool down moments in between the drop and, the build up of the next drop, that little moment where you can kind of switch out that bow, 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 bow. I try to make like the sounds and it's weird, but yeah, like that moment is super crazy. The sound design on this thing is nuts. And these guys are really just in their bag right now. So I can't wait to hear a full project from them. Number 13 is Discotool, the track I was referring to earlier, by Motorola and Blue Claire. I mean, two guys that are killing it this year, coming together and making a super crazy, fun disco inspired house banger. And Blue Claire, man, this guy has been making a name for himself this year, just putting out some of the most interesting, unique, exciting sounding music that you'll hear. And we'll be talking a lot more about him later. But as for Motorola, he's another guy that I'm a big fan of. And he had a really good project that came out this year. Let me see if I can find it. But it's Jack the House 2, which is the sequel to his first Jack the House. Really like that project a lot. So, but as for this track, it's really great. It's catchy, it's fun, it's exciting, and it's got just crazy sound design on the drops of this thing, man. And really kind of Blue Claire in particular is really paving the way for the new generation of where house music goes next. And speaking of which, at number 12, we have an absolute nasty banger. When I first heard this track, this was one of the ones when I first heard it, I'm like, not really big on this. But as I heard it more and more and more, I started really falling in love with it. And that is High Caliber by Drinks on Me and Event Horizon. Man, what an absolute nasty banger this is. And you could tell that they just made this with very low budget, very cheap, but very well. But it's so crisp in the production. I mean, Drinks on Me is a guy I've been high on for about 2 years now. Really been a fan of him. Event Horizon's a guy I've actually kind of gotten into recently, and he's got a lot of interesting, unique sounding tracks I think you should check out. But this track in particular, I think it's so, and I think if the reason I didn't like it at first is that it is kind of minimal, in its production, and maybe that's what I didn't like about it. But as I listened to it more and more, I was like, this is pretty catchy. And the drop, especially the first drop on this thing, just hits pretty hard. And I bet on speakers in a loud setting with Drinks playing this live in some warehouse in the middle of Manchester or wherever or London or something, I bet it would slap. So once the COVID is over, which whatever, I'm not gonna get into it, but once that's over in the UK, I definitely want to go there and go to a garage event. I feel like that'd be sick. And especially if Drinks on Me is there. But yeah, this track's dope. Number 11, Complicated by Blossom and Bella Renee, who does the vocals on this. Yeah, this track was really cool in the way that it was, kind of incorporates a lot of the pop vocals of Bella Renee with the absolute hard-hitting UK sounding bass house drop that Blossom provides on this, and really liking Blossom a lot. She's been getting a lot of hype, from Confession and Night Bass, and a lot of the house record labels and whatnot. So yeah, she's really making some good stuff, and I really like this track a lot. And I love the hook; it's very catchy and it's a fun track. And I think it's not gonna be for everybody because it is kind of a hard contrast between pop catchy vocals and hard hitting drops. But if you can wrap your head around it a little bit, I think you'll like it. Number 10, we're in the top 10, folks, and we're going with an interesting track here, a really nasty, grimy house banger, and that's not going to be for everybody, a bass house banger, and that is Loco by Kid Tone and Tony, and that's spelled Tonii. So I don't know if that's how that's pronounced, but I assume it is. But anyway, this track is crazy. One of the best drops of the year, in my opinion. Really love this track. This is definitely one I could just see myself if I was DJing somewhere, just dropping this hard on a crowd and just seeing what they think. But Kid Tone is a guy that's been really dope. Really enjoyed that track, Move It to the Sound, with him that he did with Siberian Express. That was an amazing track from a couple of years ago. So seeing him just evolve and make more crazy, wacky tracks is really dope. And he's really pushing the line as far as bass house goes and creativity. Number 9 is a performance from a brother-sister duo, Sammy and Lucy Vergie's All Right. Wow, what a really fun house garage mixed a lot though with pop sounding production that is just so bright and pretty and light, with some great vocals from his sister. I think they're probably brother and sister, or they're married. I don't know. I hope they're not brother and sister and married, but I don't know. I think they're brother and sister. I don't know. Who knows? But if they are, if they aren't, if they're cousins, if they're somehow related, that's the point. And shout out to relatives making music together. I'm all about that. And yeah, this is a great joint, man. Really catchy hook, great vocals on this thing, awesome drop, and just really bouncy, fun, happy, exciting production. I recommend this to people that are just trying to get into the genre. This is probably the one that I would recommend because it has a very bright, blissful sound to it, and it's not as gritty and hard hitting as maybe some of the other songs I've already talked about. But it's a nice primer for those kind of tracks. And speaking of one of those kind of tracks, at number 8, we have an absolute banger from two of the best to come out of Russia right now, and that is Sandman by the Phlegmatic Dogs. Phlegmatic Dogs have been in their bag for about 2 years now, 3 years now, man. Ever since that song, Quattro Cats, man, that track was insane. And ever since then, I've been a huge fan of the Phlegmatic Dogs. I really love these guys. They're killing it right now. And this track, Sandman, was their return to Night Bass, and man, it is nasty, man. The sirens on this thing, I think the sirens are maybe a little too loud on it, and that's probably my biggest complaint. But the I don't know, though. Actually, now that I think about it, the sirens just make the song in a way, because they're just so, like, it's so in your face. And the vocals on here, I love the way they interplace vocals in here. And man, this track is so hard hitting. It's so nasty. And it's been nice to kind of see a lot of the OGs get back into it. And, I know it's been a hard year. 2020 was for a lot of artists, just because it was hard to get out and travel and actually perform because, the COVID. But, now as places are starting to open up again, it's, lights at the end of the tunnel for a lot of these guys. So support a lot of these artists, and I'll talk about that at the end. But anyway, number 7, is another one of these tracks where we take a classic track and bring it into the new light with a heavy 125 plus bass, BPM bass line and drums and everything behind it that gives it that house grandiose party sound to it. And that is Bongo Cha 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 by the Good Boys, which is a remix of a classic song from, I think, like the 1960s or 50s or something. But I'm sorry, I'm looking this up. Yeah, 1959, and brings this song into the light again, and makes it just a nasty, fun banger. And I love the drums and the bass that is provided here. And that's the thing. I mean, again, it is simplistic, and you could say the same thing about Do It To It. It's very much in that vein, but I think this song just does it better, and it has that classic horns and production from the classic bongo cha 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 song, and just brings it with that hard hitting bass. Man, I would love to play this live. Shout out to that track. Number 6 is kind of a guy spearheading the run in French house a little bit of new talent, and that is Frientz's Let Me, which was on a Noir sur Blanc compilation album. It's just a track called Let Me by Frentz. And Frentz, man, he is just nasty. And especially this track. I love this track so much. The drop is nasty, bro. This is probably my favorite. I don't know if this is my favorite drop, but it's one of them. It's up there with Loco and some of these other tracks. Just great. I mean, yeah, I remember hearing Mala play this track somewhere in a performance, and I was like, bro, what is this? And I had to add it. Really great stuff. Shout out to Frentz. Really doing good work. We are into the top 5. And here we go. Number 5 is a track that another one of these tracks, when I first listened to it, I'm like, it's all right. But then I kept coming back to it more and more and more and more. And now, even currently to this day, love this track. It's Don't Want to Let It Go by Taki Newlight, and Eloise Keeble is her name, who does the vocals here. And look, I gotta be honest, I don't think that she's the best singer I've heard, but I for some reason her voice sounds really interesting on this track and has really kind of grown on me. And I think she really just fits the vibe of this track. So, kind of a compliment, I guess. But and that was kind of my thing at first. I'm like, I don't know if I like this that much, but it has really grown on me, and especially the second drop of this song is insane. I love it, and the first one is a little bit more melodic in nature, and I like it, but the second drop, it's just trancy, it's weird, it's out there. And Taki Newlight has really just been one of my favorite producers working, in the last 5 years. He's been absolutely insane, and he's just getting better and better and more intricate with his production and sound design. Yeah, man, this guy is really on another level in terms of sound design, production, and yeah, really love this track, man. And it's catchy as hell, exciting, and yeah, Eloise Keeble, she does sound pretty good on this track. I do like it. At first, I didn't. That was kind of my thoughts at first, was that she just didn't really fit it all that well, but she's really her vocals really did kind of grow on me the more I listened to it, and yeah, it's a good track. Number 4 is Spend the Night by MPH, and yep, here's MPH, miles per hour. Nah, MPH has been killing it, man. This guy is doing some of the best vocal sampling in UK garage right now. I mean, this track is so dope, man. From the vocal samples, I want to spend the night, like that, and then the amazing chord progressions on this thing, man. This track is just off the hook. Really awesome stuff from MPH, and he's just He's one of these guys that's just coming up in the garage scene, doing a lot of interesting remixes, doing a lot of interesting flips and production and sound design and exciting, energetic, fast-paced tracks. And that's what this is, man. You just feel like you're moving 100 miles per hour while this song is on. Number 3 on my list is the lead single from one of the albums that actually made my albums list, and that is Never Let Me Down by Gorgon City and Haley May. Awesome track. I talked about this one a little bit with the top albums, but yeah, this track made this album for me. It's so catchy, so great. The piano chords on here are fantastic, mixed in with just awesome energy and vocals from Haley May. Great work, man. This is an awesome track. Gorgon City, just an awesome duo coming out of the UK and making some great pop, tech, bass house inspired music. Really great stuff. Number 2. We're at number 2 on my list for the top 20 house songs of 2021, and that is Get Down to the Beat Like This by Blue Claire and Utoro. Dude, I remember when this came out early 2021, I was like, this is the future of house music, is this track. Just so creative, blend of 80s, early 80s, late 70s sounding disco mixed with hard banging house music and drums and production and great vocals on this thing from the get-go. You just feel the energy. You feel like you're just in a weird space between, traveling back in time to the 80s and traveling forward into the crazy unknown future. It's a nuts track, man. And Blue Claire, Utoro, who's been doing some interesting work as well. Listen to some of his tracks, really like what he's doing. But these guys came together, and Blue Claire is just a trailblazer, man. I think this guy is really the future. And a lot of people are really high on him, and rightfully so. I think he's really making some awesome, new, creative, interesting, inventive house music. So Blue Claire, shout out to you, man. Keep killing it. Keep pushing the envelope. We appreciate it. Number 1. This is it. This is the final pick for my number 1 house song of 2021. And it is an awesome, very, low vibe, but just groove, spacey joint. And that is Movies by Drinks on Me. Yeah, Drinks on Me, man. He has really been pushing the envelope. He had an EP that came out this year that I thought was pretty okay. I wish it was a little bit more varied. But again, I think it's kind of grown on me over time. I really do like the project, and I think that this guy is really, talk about pushing the envelope. Him and Blue Claire, MPH, Sammy Vergy, Matroda, Blossom, Wednesday. These guys are all killing it. I mean, really just putting out some incredible music, and they're really kind of the future of this sound, and very excited to see as this genre slowly creeps further and further towards the mainstream. This track, and I'm not saying this track is necessarily mainstream, but I just think this is the direction to go in. The moody, spacey, out there track that makes you feel like this nostalgia, like you're being pulled in some sort of direction. Really awesome track. Good music video too, that you could tell was just made by the everyday man. Like, that's the thing I like about Drinks on Me. A lot of time he just posts videos of himself making music on a laptop, and it's just like, man, to be making music this creative and this out there on your computer is pretty groundbreaking, and this guy is really killing it and really putting out some great stuff, doing a lot of the vocals himself. Not necessarily, I don't know if he did them on this track or not. Maybe he did. But if he did, really great stuff. I think in just the melodies he comes up with, especially on this track, is great. And look, I don't think necessarily this is the best produced sound on here. I mean, the best produced track on this list. But I think just in terms of vibe, in terms of vocals, in terms of feeling, this is it, man. This is it. And I think, I'm a really big fan of this track, and shout out to Drinks on Me. But honestly, that's my list. And let me know what you guys think. That's my top 20.